Hello students, welcome to my channel iSmile Academy. Today we will be doing gravitation part 8. The first question, the figure shows the motion of a planet around the sun in an elliptical orbit with sun at the focus. The shaded areas A and B are also shown in the figure, which can be assumed to be equal. If T1 and T2 represent the time for the planet to move from A to B and D to C respectively, then we are given four options. T1 is less than T2 or greater than or equal or less than equal to. So what we are given is this ellipse, this is the path of motion of the planet around the sun, and here we are given two shaded areas. First is this area A, this shaded area, and area B, and it is given that area A equal to area B. Area A equal to area B is given to us. What we have to find is if the amount of time taken by the planet to move through this path, this one, if this is T1 and this is T2, so what about the time? How do we compare the time? So here we use the Kepler's second law. What does Kepler's second law say? That the line joining the sun with the center of the planet, it sweeps out equal areas in equal number of time. Okay, so here if area A is equal to area B, okay, so the time required to cover the area A, this much, by the planet is same as this much, because A equal to B. So here the time for covering area A1 is T1 and this is T2, so both are equal according to Kepler's second law of motion, second law of planetary motion. So here what we observe is the option C is correct, this one. So as long as area are same, time is also same. Next we come to question number 2. The earth revolves about the sun in an elliptical orbit with mean radius 9.3 into 10 to the 7 meters in a period of 1 year. Assume that there is no outside influences. So four options are given. The earth's kinetic energy remains constant, the earth's angular momentum remains constant, the earth's potential energy remains constant, or all are correct, all remain constant. Now let's see with respect to the motion of the earth. This I am just giving, this is just a simple diagram. So let us assume when earth is at this point, so this is the elliptical orbit given to, this is the elliptical orbit, it moves around the sun. At some point it's here, then again here, so around the year it moves along this path. Now potential energy is given by the equation minus gm m upon r, and kinetic energy is given by half gmm upon r. G is the gravitational constant, m is the mass of the sun, small m is the mass of the earth, and r is the distance of the planet to the earth to the sun. So this distance, as we see at this point, the distance is this much. When it comes here, the distance becomes less, and when the planet is at this point, the distance is far away. So this r is changing constantly throughout the year. So potential energy, kinetic, they are not constant. Now we are left with the angular momentum. Now in when the planet is, suppose it at this point or any other point, there is a force acting on the planet which is directed towards the sun. This is the force, direction of the force towards the sun. And of course we also have r is also directed towards the sun. So the force F and R both are directed towards the sun, and torque is r cross F. Now r cross F becomes Rf sine theta. Now here, after getting Rf sine theta, we observe that R and F both are acting in the same direction, so theta between them is 0. So Rf sine 0 is 0, so torque becomes 0. Now we know this rate of change of angular momentum is equal to the torque, but torque is 0, so it means dl upon dt is 0. So rate of change of angular momentum is 0, so when derivative of L is 0, it means L is a constant. So L is a constant means the angular momentum is constant. So what we are left in this is, the first option is incorrect, the second is correct. So this option, this is right, and rest all are wrong. So angular momentum remains constant. Next we come to question number 3. Kepler's second law regarding constancy of aerial velocity of a planet is a consequence of the law of conservation of energy, angular momentum, linear momentum, or none of these. Now what is the meaning of aerial velocity? Aerial velocity, VA, if we denote it by VA, it is given by dA upon dt, which is equal to L upon 2m. Now aerial velocity is what? We are finding the velocity with respect to the sector area. Okay, suppose this is how it moves. So this velocity along this particular sector, so dA upon dt, this is the aerial velocity. So it is given by L upon 2m. Now in case of planetary motion, L is constant. We have seen the previous case. So as long as L is constant, this is constant. So this constancy of the aerial velocity, it is because of the consequence of law of conservation of angular momentum. So angular momentum is conserved. So this is the answer. Next is question number 4. The Earth E moves in an elliptical orbit with the Sun as at one of the foci as shown in figure. Its speed of motion will be maximum at point C, A, B, or so we are given 4 points, point A, C, D and B. So suppose we assume the planet is at this point, okay, and it moves around this point going through B. So the amount of area covered in that case is this one. I'm just drawing it roughly. So this is the amount of area. This is the amount of area when the planet covers this, goes through point B. Now this much area must also be covered when the planet moves around this point. So this is too much. This is too much large. If we calculate the area, it is too much. So here, if the same distance has to be covered from this particular area, so this area should be larger. So here this much area around must be covered by the planet, so that this area becomes equal to this area. So here you can see the distance covered, this much distance should be covered so as to cover this much area, and here very less distance must be covered to cover this much amount of area. So it is natural when the Earth is moving around point A, it will move at a very large speed so as to cover large distances and cover the same amount of area which is covered at this point. And here the Earth has to move a little bit, not more, so as to cover this much amount of area. So this consequence is because of the Kepler's second law of planetary motion. So what we conclude is the speed is maximum at point A and minimum at point B. So this is minimum velocity, this is maximum velocity. So this is the answer. Point A is the answer. Next is question number 5. In planetary system, the solar system describes conservation of energy, conservation of linear momentum, conservation of angular momentum, or none of these. Now in planetary motion, the torque acting on any of the planet moving around the sun is 0. So what we have is dl upon dt is actually gives the torque, but torque is 0. So what we have, dl upon dt is 0, where L is the angular momentum. So when this is 0, it means L is constant. So this is because of the conservation of angular momentum. Next is question number 6. In an elliptical orbit under gravitational force in general, tangential velocity is constant, angular velocity is constant, radial velocity is constant, or aerial velocity is constant. Now in case of elliptical orbit, if we use the Kepler's second law of planetary motion, the aerial velocity, if we write aerial velocity like VA, which is dA upon dt, okay, so this is constant. Now this is the consequence of Kepler's second law of planetary motion. So this is constant, and this all the other velocities, they are not constant, they change with respect to the position. Next we come to question number 7. Earth is revolving around the sun If the distance of the earth from the sun is reduced to 1/4 of the present distance, then the present day length reduced by. So what we are given, let r be the previous distance of earth to sun. Now the new distance r dash is such that it is r by 4. So this is previous time. Now we need to find t dash. Now according to Kepler's law, third law, what we have, t square is proportional to r cube, which means t square is equal to k times r cube. So t, what we can say is, again we have k is 3 by 2. We take the square root, so this 3 by 2. So t, we are interested in t. Now we, for the present case, what we have, this is for t. What about t dash? For t dash, what we'll have is t dash is equal to k r dash 3 by 2. Now what is t dash upon t? T dash upon t would be, of course, r dash upon r raised to 3 by 2. But r dash, as we have seen above, is r by 4. So what we have here is r upon 4 the whole raised to 3 by 2. R gets cancelled out, so we are left with t dash upon t is 1 upon 4 raised to 3 by 2. Now here if we calculate, we have to take the cube of 4 and then take square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2, and that the cube is 8. So if we solve this, we get 1 by 8. So now what we observe is t dash is t by 8. So this is the answer. T dash is t by 8. So your answer is C. C is the answer. Next is question number 8. A planet is revolving around the sun as shown in the elliptical path. The correct option is. We'll see the options one by one. The first option given, the time taken in traveling DAB is less than that for BCD. So DAB is given here. So this is D. So let us see how much area is covered in this. This is the DAB path. So it starts from here. D goes to, so the when planet travels in this path, the area covered is this much with respect to the sun, the axis. So this is the, I'm just shading it yellow. This is the DAB path. Now next, BCD. Now what is the BCD? For BCD we can take this red shade. So when it's trying to in this path along this BCD area, so this is the path. Now along this, the area which comes in the, this is this one. So this is the area covered in BCD while traveling through the BCD path. Now as seen from this diagram, the red area is more and yellow is less. So according to Kepler's law, it the planet covers, sweeps out equal area in equal interval of time. So here, because the area of red is more, so the time taken for BCD is more and DAB is less. So of course in this case this option is correct. The second option given is the time taken in traveling DAB is greater than that for BCD, but we have already proved that it is incorrect. Now the third option is the time taken. I will just rub this because we will have to take new area now. Now in this case, the time taken traveling CDA is less than ABC. Now CDA is this one. When the planet goes from this path C, it comes here CDA. So this is the path. So the area under this path is this one, the semi part of the ellipse. And second is ABC. So when it goes through ABC, we can in this case take the yellow one. So here this is the ABC path. So for this ABC path, this is the area which comes under the ABC part, and we see both are equal. No, neither is greater than the other one. So these two options are incorrect. So only correct option is A. Next we come to question number 9, the last of this session. If R represents the radius of the orbit of a satellite of mass m moving around a planet of mass capital M, the velocity of satellite is given by. So we are given 4 options. Now see, whenever a satellite is moving in a circular orbit around a planet, centripetal force is necessary. Okay, so centripetal force is necessary, which is of course given by the gravitational force of attraction between the satellite and that particular planet. So centripetal force is given by mv square upon r, and gravitational force of attraction is given by gmm upon r square. So if we just take m, small m is the mass of the satellite, it gets cancelled out. So what we get is v square is gm upon r. Okay, so this option D is the correct option. So students, that's all for this session. Okay, all the best. Please revise it properly, do the problems by yourself, also refer the textbooks. Okay, thanks for watching.